Can we start the session? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me share the camera. Okay. Just wondering if you all can hear me. Can you please type 1 on the chat box? Can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay, thanks. Now, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm going to give a presentation about the future of accounting and finance, especially post-COVID era. Okay, I think I'm going to admit a guest, Zaima. Okay, maybe we just wait for a couple of minutes for others to join the session. All right, just a short, very short introduction about myself. My name is Ricky Wong. I am the program director for the Accounting and Finance undergraduate degree programs in Heriot-Watt University, Malaysia. And I'm a chartered accountant, having registered myself as a member of Malaysian Institute of Accountants, MIA. Other than that, I'm also a fellow member of ACCA UK, and I have about 15 years of working experience in industry. So industry-wise is 15 years experience plus 8 years of teaching experience. So it's all in all about 23 years of experience, 15 years coming from the corporate industrial experience and 8 years of teaching. So I have a good mix of industrial experience as well as teaching experience. Here I would like to share with you some of my key thoughts and understanding about what the future of accounting and finance role is going to be like. Okay, so I'm going to share screen now. Okay, I'm going to share the screen. Just give me a minute. Okay, include computer sound. All right. Can see the screen? All of you can see? Can you unmute and say you can see the screen, the slide?
Yep, we can see it.
Yes, you can. Thanks, thanks, because I can't see the message. So reimagining the future of accounting and finance. Now, let's think about post-COVID. Now we are in the midst of the COVID struggle, okay? Because we are trying to get out of this COVID-19 situation. After COVID, what is going to happen to the role of accounting and finance? My understanding is that after COVID-19, there will be a greater demand for the accounting and finance roles. Why? Because as companies restructure and they have to financially recover, correct? They have to financially recover, they have to look at a balance sheet, they have to look into the income statement, they have to know how much of money to borrow, what is the interest rate to borrow, what is the debt capacity, how to approach the banks. And you need those accounting and finance knowledge in order for you to help the companies to restructure their finances. Okay, that's where the role of accounting and finance in the future is going to be bright. Okay, so before that, let me give a short introduction about Heriot-Watt University. Heriot-Watt University, as you know, our main campus is based in Edinburgh. Now, this university is very established because as of now, this university is already 200 years old. So it is a very, very established university. In Malaysia, it's about 7 to 8 years establishment in Putrajaya. Okay, but our home campus is already 200 years with very established track record. And whatever syllabus and whatever learning outcomes, okay, whatever courses that we teach are identical, if not the same, okay, from Edinburgh. So whatever you are studying here is exactly the same as though you are in Edinburgh. What I'm trying to say is that imagine if you pay Malaysian ringgit, but you're actually getting a UK education, okay? So other than Scottish Borders at Orkney, like I said, our main campus is Edinburgh, and outside Edinburgh, we have campuses in now in Putrajaya as well as in Dubai. So because we have all these three campuses, we now have this program called the Go Global Program. Now, in Go Global Program, students can choose to study, say, for example, 1 year in Malaysia, 1 year in Edinburgh, 1 year in Dubai, or 1 year in Malaysia, 1 year in Dubai, and the final year celebrate the graduation in Edinburgh. Okay, why can it be done? This can be done because all our programs are synchronized, they are seamless, and therefore it's smooth. You can do the first year here, do the second year there, and then come back the third year. It's exactly the same. That is why on our academic certificate, on our academic transcript, it does not distinguish whether you come from Putrajaya or you come from Dubai or you come from Edinburgh. We are one university, okay? We are one university and we are Heriot-Watt University. So we are one big family. Therefore, we have this program called Go Global, okay? So for some of you who might want to get some experience overseas without committing yourself to 3 years of studies in Edinburgh, which can be financially burdensome, then you can actually opt to study in Putrajaya for 2 years, year 1 and year 2, and then you can do your final year in Edinburgh. Okay, this is one of the more popular routes that students normally do. So they do 2 years in Malaysia, and then in the final year, they will do that in Edinburgh, UK, and they can celebrate their graduation over there. Okay. So before I begin, perhaps is more importantly than that is to understand how to choose what to study. Okay, how to choose what to study. I guess the first step is to assess our own passion. What are we passionate about? What are the things that motivate us? What do we like and what is the things that we don't like? Okay, that's very important because you are going to work not just for 5 years. Okay, you're going to work for many, many years. Imagine if you're only 25 years, you're going to work until your retirement age. So you got to think what you're passionate about. Okay, then from there you plan your path. Okay, then you know what degree you want to study. Is it accounting or is it finance, for example? After that, you should look to the future, pick the right university, pick the correct qualifications so that you are equipped, you're ready for the future. Okay, so I'm here perhaps to facilitate or help you to see your future. Okay, because like I said, your future is bright, especially after COVID-19, when things are picking up. All companies would require accountants and finance professionals to restructure their businesses, okay, and their finance position. So let's talk about the future. By the year 2030, that's less than 10 years from now, Malaysia would require 60,000 accountants. Okay, 60,000 accountants. At the moment, there's only about 33,000 accountants. So there is a gap, big gap, okay, almost double. We need to double our accountant capacity to 60,000. In other words, to cut the long story short, there is a great demand. Whether you work in KLCC, you work with Maxis, Public Bank, Mandarin Oriental, you need accountants as well as finance professionals to help, especially during after COVID-19, right? You need all these people to help to restructure the business. So therefore, the role of an accountant, if you look for a job, is going to be there. One of the main worries we have, okay, is what if I study my accountancy degree or my finance degree, I don't get a job? So perhaps this information coming from MIA would give some comfort that there's going to be a great demand for accountants and finance professionals going forward. All right. Now, as you know, now a lot of people are talking about automation, talking about artificial intelligence. Will they replace accountants? Maybe I just want to draw an analogy here. Would you board on an aircraft, okay, which is 100% autopilot? No human pilot in the cockpit. I think most probably you won't. Because as much as there's such a thing called autopilot, you still need human pilots to maneuver as well as to interrupt or intervene whenever there's something wrong with the system. The same applies for accountants and professionals, okay? Accountants as well as finance professionals. Technology and automation, okay, will not entirely replace human. Especially, it will only take over some routine and day-to-day jobs. But when it comes to making decisions, giving judgment, then you need accountants, you need technical skills. So in other words, technical and financial expertise are always going to be needed for higher level analysis, whereas the automation and technology will take over those routine tasks. So the demand for accountants and finance professionals will be there, okay? Because there'll be more laws, there'll be more regulations, more accounting standards. More companies will need to appoint more auditors to check their books, to verify their financial statements, and so on, okay? This is exactly the same situation. You do not want, if you want to board an aircraft from Kuala Lumpur KLIA to, say, Singapore, you do not want 100% autopilot. Okay, you still need a pilot to make sure that it is safe. Okay, likewise, you need accountant and finance professionals to make sure that there's human judgment involved in that area. Okay, so now the roles of finance and accounting professionals have changed over the years. In the past, okay, we all talk about what happened. If you look at the graph here, okay, you talk about what happened. Those are descriptive analytics. Why did it happen? Diagnostics analytics. Now, these are the things which happened in the past. In future, the role of finance and accounting professionals will be starting from giving insight all the way to delivering foresight. In other words, it's going to be involved in big data, it's going to involve in predictive analytics. What is likely to happen? What should we do? And how can those data, how can those machine learning help us to make a good judgment for our company? Okay, for example, now we are in the storm of COVID-19. If you are the CFO of, say, TGV cinemas, as you know, cinemas are not allowed to open now. So you know what happened as a CFO, you know why did it happen, but more importantly than that is you need to come up with the financial contingency plans, like what is it likely to happen, what should we do now, and how can we cope with some financial distress in the future. So you need to exercise your foresight. Okay, so before I move on to the next slide, I would like to share two video clips with you. Okay, this is the first one. Okay.
Do you think robots, artificial intelligence will replace some percentage of what accountants, CPAs, controllers, CFOs do in the future?
This, over the last probably 2 to 3 months, this has probably been the headline in the whole business, segment. And I'm one, I might be in the minority, but I just think this is so overblown. Again, manufacturing, yes, a lot of industries. Will it reach into accounting? Absolutely. Bookkeeping, basic things. But things that we do where it's complex tax planning, complex structuring of debt and equity and things, there are so many variables in that. And I know, you can program a computer to beat, the best chess player in the world and have a lot of variables, but you can't code everything in there. And the other really important piece, what we do, when you're dealing with a business owner or particularly an individual, it's a very personal relationship. And I don't think you're going to feel real comfortable talking to Watson, and telling, him your tax situation. Again, I don't have a very good relationship with Siri, and it may be me, but there's a whole lot of things that don't translate, and so I think it's overblown.
All right, this is the first video. The next video is around the same topic. We're talking about the future of finance and accounting in the future. Okay, so let me play this video.
Digital transformation opens the door for many opportunities within finance. Today, finance is asked to essentially set the course for the years to come. Let's take a closer look at two possible scenarios for the future. We're in the year 2022. Finance as a division has significantly shrunk. In many areas, standardization and automation have taken place. Many processes have been automized efficiently through robotics. Finance consists of a small team of specialists for topics like IFRS, taxes, risk management, compliance, regulation, and financing mechanisms. Processing of financial statements is now fully automated. The operational responsibility for the closing process is now owned by IT. Business decisions are primarily taken based on information derived from operational functions. Marketing and sales, as well as technology, invested early in big data and analytics and are now jointly leading the Center for Analytics. Finance has lost its leading role and is no longer involved in important decision-making. Instead, it focuses on contributing special expertise where needed. The responsibility of planning and forecasting has shifted completely towards operations. Early on, they set up big data-based prediction models within their divisions. The role of finance is limited to planning of financial mechanisms, taxes, as well as currency and consolidation effects. Finance has become a mere center of excellence that is limited to providing highly specialized financial expertise upon request. 2017. Finance missed the opportunity to claim and shape new digital trends and actively build a future vision for themselves. Finance was overrun by digitalization and lost its role of being part of the strategic development of the entire organization. 2017. Finance decided to become a leading pioneer of digitalization. Finance analyzed digital trends for themselves and developed a target and vision for the future. The goal was to act, not react, and develop a common vision. Upon this foundation, new opportunities were identified, and as a result, a newly formed roadmap has been developed to define specific actions for the years to come. An interdisciplinary team coordinates analytical topics and combines deep business competence with technical know-how. Finance was the driver for building the Center for Analytics. Information from various sources are combined in real time. The planning and forecasting process has been automated to the highest degree possible with modern statistical methods and big data. The forecast preparation is done by a push of a button, and finance is able to focus on the development of new insights. From day one, all finance executives have been involved in the development of the target vision. Finance now combines strategic competence with in-depth business know-how. New skills in the area of data modeling and analytics have been built up and used successfully. Finance focuses on cross-functional and interdisciplinary cooperation. 2022. Standard processes have been fully automated. Finance has gained time and capacity to consider and work with analytical-related questions. Finance is the co-pilot in the context of strategic development and appreciated as a business partner for operational functions. Now, it's time to define your future in the digital world.
Okay, so are you still with me? Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. So the key messages from these two YouTube videos are that, number one, although in future there is going to be automation as well as high level of artificial intelligence, but it's not going to take over all the accounting and finance roles. Okay. Computer programs, computer software can do the debits and credits, but you still need qualified accountants and qualified finance professionals to make judgments, to do tax planning, to assess the complicated situation, complex intra or international transactions. Okay, so that is why finance and accounting role will still be relevant in the future, especially if you look at this slide when it talks about predictive analytics, prescriptive analytics, as well as adaptive analytics, talking about what should we do moving forward rather than looking back. Okay, so why is it a brighter future for both accountancy and finance area? Number one, I would say that no business can survive without accounting and finance professionals, especially if you want to talk about how do you restructure a company's finances, correct? As now, most companies are affected by COVID, all right? So after COVID, a lot of companies will still need accounting and finance professionals to help them to turn around the companies, okay, to help them to grow the business, to look out for new business opportunities, to stay afloat in the business, and so on. So accounting and finance jobs will almost be an recession-proof profession. Okay, of course, when the economy is good, the demand is greater. But even if the economy is not so good, okay, is in, for example, it's not in a economy boom time, okay, even during recession, there will still be demand for accounting and finance job. It won't be like zero, okay? It won't be like zero, no job opportunity at all, because all public listed companies will still need to have qualified accountants and finance professionals to assist them, okay? All right, and next point is that the biggest and most prominent graduate recruiters are those multinational accountancy firms. For example, PwC. I'm sure you have heard of PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, Deloitte, and so on. Okay, so these are all the big multinational accountancy firms. They will absorb graduates. Why? Because, as you know, it is a requirement by law for companies to have their financial statements audited. Okay, when you talk about audited, you need to recruit auditors. So all these Ernst & Young, PwC, KPMG will recruit graduates so that they themselves become auditors and help them. So once you get trained, after 3 years of working experience, you get a professional qualification, you yourself will become an auditor. Okay, so he's going to recruit a lot of graduates from there. And like I said just now, Malaysia will require 60,000 accountants by the year 2030. So as you know, our accountancy and finance, okay, will take about 3 years to complete. So 2021, say for example, you take 3 years, it's going to be 2024. 2024, by the time we still need accountants, there's currently a big shortage of accountants as well as finance professionals. So you're in a good position. If you take up accountancy degree or finance degree, you're in a good position, and most likely you'll be able to get a good job. Okay. So let me share with you who are the accountants. Okay, and some of them are very successful entrepreneurs. Some, for example, Noor Samsia Muhammad Yunus. She is our Bank Negara Malaysia governor. She is a trained accountant. Okay, and then I think the middle photo, you should be very familiar with Tony Fernandez, Air Asia. Okay, he's a trained accountant. As you can see, he's also the entrepreneur. Okay, he really transformed what low-cost airline is all about. Okay, he transformed the low-cost airline travel, low-cost aviation industry. With Malaysia is famous, one of it is AirAsia, and he is the captain of AirAsia. And then you have Jeffrey Chia. If you go to Bandar Sunway, you can see the entire Sunway ecosystem. You have Sunway Shopping, you have Sunway Hospital, you have Sunway University, you have Sunway, Bandar Sunway, for example, the entire ecosystem. Okay, he actually turned the whole, he called it wasteland into a wonderland. Okay, and you have Sunway Lagoon, Sunway Hotels. So Jeffrey Chia is also a trained accountant. Okay, so those students who have studied accountancy and finance, it will help them to grow their business, to know how to nurture and look out for business opportunities. So they themselves can become entrepreneurs if they wish. Otherwise, they also can become accountants in the companies that they work with the employers. Okay. Now, according to a survey, the top 100 public listed companies in Malaysia. So you're talking about big names like Sime Darby, SP Setia, IOI Corporation, Petronas. Those top 100 public listed companies in Malaysia, 1 in 4 of the board of directors is an accountant. Okay, he or she is an accountant. Why? Because during decision-making time, they need somebody who is financially sound, who has those technical skills to assess the company's financial future, financial position, to assist them in their decision-making. So 1 in 4 of them is an accountant. So this is why I said the role of an accountant as well as finance professional is highly sought after there's going to be a demand. If you just look at the top 100 companies in Malaysia, you can see that 1 out of 4 board directors is an accountant. Okay. Now, globally, there are 3 million members. In other words, globally, there are 3 million registered accountants. Okay, and they are spreading across 130 countries. You might be wondering, what else can I do other than joining the Ernst & Young, for example, PwC? Okay, so other than public practice, for example, PwC, Deloitte, KPMG, Ernst & Young. Okay, these are those multinational audit firms that provide advisory services, that provide auditing services, that provide tax planning, risk management advisory services to their clients. Okay, so you can work in public practice. In Malaysia, you have PwC, you have Deloitte, EY, KPMG. And you can also find opportunities in the industry. For example, Alibaba, Apple, Shell, ExxonMobil, okay, Petronas, Sime Darby, EPF, you name it, correct? Those are the corporate industry. A lot of opportunities there because you need accountants and finance professionals. In the government sector, like just now Bank Negara, as well as in our National Treasury Department, they will also require people with accounting and finance skills. Okay. In the education sector, whether you're teaching at Harvard or Heriot University, this is where those accountants can also deliver and contribute their knowledge and skills, okay, to the education sector. So let's look about the Malaysian landscape. In Malaysia, like I said, currently there is about 33,000 registered members, but we need 60,000 accountants. Okay, we need about 60,000 accountants, so it's double. Okay, and of these 33,000 members, 63% of them, these registered accountants, reside in Klang Valley. Why? Because as you know, Klang Valley is the major hub. All the commerce, industry, companies, MNCs, everything is based in Klang Valley. Of course, there are also many opportunities in Johor Bahru, Ipoh, and so on. Okay, but majority of them are in Klang Valley, and is equally split between men and women, which means that, okay, whether you are an accountant or finance professional, this opportunity is open to both men and women. Okay, 44% of them aged below 40. Hang on, something is wrong with my slide. Okay, let me go back to the page. Okay, so 44% of them aged below 40, and then a majority of them, 67% of them, are working in the industry. Okay, as you know, Malaysia, you have so many industries. Example, IOI, Top Glove, Hatta Lega. All right, all these companies, they really require finance professionals and accountants. Okay, so in a recent research done by ACCA, okay, Association of Chartered Certified Accountants, they talk about drivers of change and future skills. What is going to happen to the roles of accountants and finance professionals in the future? Okay, so let's look at the drivers of change. Now, according to their research, these are the main 3 drivers. The first thing is regulation and governance. You know, in order to protect shareholders' interests, because shareholders invest their money in those companies. Now, some companies, they will falsify their books, correct? They will falsify their accounts. In other words, they will mislead the investors. So because of that, the governments and the regulatory bodies will come up with even tougher laws and come up with higher standards, okay, to deter people from committing frauds. And because of that, you need accountants to make sure of the compliance, to make sure that, you know, all these companies adhere and comply with the new laws and regulations. So there's going to be, number 1, the great demand for accounting as well as finance professionals. Number 2 is globalization. As you know, nowadays, a lot of companies, even medium-sized SME, would also source their products from, say, for example, from China or from India, from Taiwan. So as companies do imports and exports, you probably will require people with finance and accounting skills to help them to manage their exposure. And with digital technologies, is really pushing forward for automation so that accountants and finance people will then have more time to come up with better judgment and to advise the top management what is the best step, what is the best opportunity going forward. Okay, so digital technologies, globalization, and regulation are the main drivers of change for according to ACCA report. Okay, so it is no longer the case that whether you're an accounting or finance professional, you look into bookkeeping or you look into preparing those financial reports. Those are roles which can be done by computer programs. Okay, this can be done by the program, by the software. More importantly is once all these transactions have been automated, accountants and finance professionals have more time now to look at those numbers and predict what is going to happen in the future, to prepare the company for the future. That's more important, looking into the forward rather than going to the past. Because all these bookkeeping and historical financial reports can be done via accounting software. Okay. So, according to the World Economic Forum, the Future of Jobs Report 2018, okay, with high-speed mobile internet, with AI, with big data analytics, okay, as well as cloud computing, a lot of tasks, especially those standard, mundane, day-to-day routine tasks, will be automated. Okay, and as accountants as well as finance professionals, we will have to move with the times. So we will look into those data, and then we try to engage with people from other departments and see how we can prepare the company to seize the best opportunity forward. Okay, that's more important. It's not going to be sitting behind the computer or laptop keying the double entries. No. Okay, it's going to be involving a lot of tax planning, a lot of finance planning, and so on. So future skills will be forward-looking. Okay, we are the strategic partners, strategic business advisors to the company. We need to think in a more integrated way, not just from a finance perspective, but also looking into the marketing of the new products, marketing of new product launches, and so on to help the company to grow. Okay, we need to exercise professional judgment as well as maintain our integrity, our independence, and exercise our professional skepticism. Okay, and because nowadays a lot of companies are engaging with other countries, they buy and sell with other countries. Therefore, okay, we are expected to be multilingual, not just one particular language, but can speak multiple languages. That's going to be an advantage. We are going to assume some leadership roles and communicate effectively. Okay, especially as whether you're an accountant or finance professional, you need to communicate effectively within interdisciplinary departments. Okay, from one department with another department. So this is going to be the future skills of an accountant as well as a finance specialist. So some of the key things that we will consider when we enroll into a university, when you make a choice. I think this can be boiled down into three main factors. Okay, these are the three main considerations. Number one, how much is it? The cost. Like I said, okay, we are now paying ringgit, but we are getting a UK education. And you can go global, meaning that you can do 2 years here and the final year celebration for your graduation, you can do that in UK. Okay, so the courses are exactly the same. The courses are exactly the same. Even the exam questions are exactly the same because it's coming from Heriot-Watt University as a whole. Okay, not Malaysia campus, not just Dubai campus or Edinburgh campus. We are one university. So think about that. I think this is worthwhile. First is the cost. Second is the duration. Now it's going to take 3 years. Our degree, just like any other degree, is going to take you 3 years. Okay, once you finish these 3 years, then you will get the scroll on your graduation. And the experience that you're getting, you get a university life experience. Okay, experience where you can join the different clubs and societies, experience as a student leader, and so on. Okay, experience to be involved in assignment, in coursework, engagement with the students, and so on. Okay, so For our MA Honors Accounting and Business Finance, okay, for those who are more keen on doing accounting and business finance, ABF, we have gotten the exemptions from these professional bodies. So it is a testament to our quality, to our syllabus. That's why we get these exemptions from these professional bodies, ICAW UK, ACCA UK, CIMA UK, and CBA Australia. Okay, and more importantly than that, when you enroll into our university, this is our university, Heriot-Watt, University Malaysia, based in Putrajaya Lakeside. Okay, we give you a special program called the Empowerment Program because, like I said, it's not important just to know, but you must be able to do it. Okay, and then once you know how to do it, it becomes part of you. That's called being. So it comes with 3 stages: knowing, the knowledge, doing it, that means you apply it, being means that it is becoming a part of you. Okay, and we have something called the empowerment program. Okay, this empowerment program is there to build our resilience, build our emotional intelligence, and so on, so that we can better cope with life challenges, life struggles, and so on. Okay, so yeah, I think those are the main things that I would like to cover for reimagining the future of accounting and finance. Okay, so I will pause here for a while I'm happy to take questions from the comment. Okay, so let me go back to the screen and see if there's any comment from a guest. So can I assume all of you have just received your SPM results? Okay. All right. So I'm happy to take the question. Let's go through the first question. Thank you, Muhammad Nurisman. Are there a universal software all companies use? The answer is no. Okay. There's no universal software that all companies use. Different companies would use different software depending on their needs. Okay. You may have heard of UBS software. You may have heard of SQS software, MYOB software. So these are the standard software packages which are off the shelf that companies can purchase. But once purchased, okay, you might need to engage with the consultants to customize certain features which suit your company. Okay, so there's no universal software, but there are popular software, accounting software that companies use. I hope I answered your question. And if you join a company, normally the company will teach you how to use the software. All right. So that once you get a hang of it, you become an expert. I think then you can generate reports for your bosses and so on. Okay. Have I answered your question, Nuris? Okay, thank you. Okay, I'm happy to take the next question coming from Zahir Ali Muhammad Hussein. Okay, right. What is the difference between accounting and finance and business and finance? Are you asking for the difference between the role of an accounting and the role of the finance, or you're asking between our accounting degrees and finance degrees? Both. Oh, okay. All right. So let's talk about the role. Okay. Now, the role of an accountant, I would say, put it simply, is more into making sure that your income statement, your balance sheet, basically your financial statements comply with the laws and regulations. Okay, that's the most important role of an accountant, to make sure that all transactions are recorded and all transactions are reported and you work very closely with the auditors to make sure you comply with Bursa Malaysia requirements, that you don't break the laws. Because once you break the laws, you have to face the music and you get into trouble. Okay, so that's the most important role of an accountant. Finance, on the other hand, okay, like the word suggests, finance is where you have to find what is the optimal mix between debt and equity. Okay, you can't be 100% relying on your shareholders' money. To a certain extent, like for example, now the interest rate is low. A lot of companies are going out there to borrow money from the banks, for example, so that they can expand better in the future. So as a finance, it's going to be more forward-looking. Okay, it's going to be more forward-looking, looking into how do we seize for new funding, new finance, how to maximize our ROI, how to maximize our return on investment ROI. Okay, what is the best risk and reward relationship? How to get the most reward coming from moderate risk. All right, that's the role of finance. And they are very closely related. If you ask me, accounting and finance is very closely related. You need to know a bit of both. Okay, and your next question is for our accounting degrees. Now we have two accounting degrees. One is called the MA Honors Accounting and Business Finance. This is more to gear you towards to becoming an accountant. Okay, to be registered with say ACCA, CMA, ICAW, CP Australia. So if you aspire to become an accountant, therefore the recommended route is to do MAABF. On the other hand, if you aspire to become a finance specialist, which means that you want to become a remiser, you want to advise your client, this is the stock to buy, that is the stock to sell, these stocks you can still hold for 1 year, then you can sell off at a profit. This is the trading signal. That is not the right stock to buy, it's too expensive. If you want to get into that role, then suggestion is to take up our finance degree, because the finance degree, the syllabus is develop such a way that it is really developing your finance skills rather than accounting skills. Okay. Did I answer your question? The main difference between accounting and finance. Okay. All right. Nuris, for accounting. Yes. Okay. For accounting, there isn't any universal software. All right. Of course, there are popular software packages. It all depends on the needs of a different of the companies involved. Okay. Does accounting degree in Heriot-Watt include it? Okay, this is a good question. Okay, interesting. Diana Patricia, does accounting degree in Heriot-Watt include internship program? The answer is yes, there is. And this is embedded in year 2, SEM 3. That means when you are in doing year 2, normally year 1, all of us are still fresh. Okay, all of us are fresh. We just joined the university. We are trying to learn how to use the software, for example, and we are trying to learn how to use the platform, how to access to the class online, things like that. So we wouldn't want to add further stress. But before you graduate, that's in the 3rd year, you'll be busy with dissertation projects. So the best time to slot in internship is year 2. Year 2 is the middle of the year. Okay, it's a 3-year program. Year 1 you're new. Year 3 you should be very stable. So year 2 we will have this program called internship program, so that you get those very valuable working experience, and it's also a plus point for your CV later on. Okay, imagine next time if you look up for a job, on your CV you mentioned that you have say for example 3 months of working experience as so and so in this company. There's going to be a plus in your CV. Okay, so the answer to Diana Patricia is yes, there's an internship program for the accounting degree. Okay. Yeah. So any more questions? Please feel free to leave your questions on the chat box, or you can unmute yourself and speak up if you wish.
Dr. Ricky, I think there's a question by Daryl Lee in the chat
Oh,
box.
sorry. I must have missed it. Okay. Thanks, for highlighting.
All right.
Okay. I quite like the empowerment of students bit. Is this the one on the website that says what level? Yes. Okay. The answer is yes, Daryl Lee. Now, in this empowerment program, students are encouraged to engage in self-discovery. For example, what is the meaning of life? Okay, what is the real purpose of life? And it's more probing internally rather than going out there externally to look out for a reason for life. Okay, so the reason why we have this empowerment program is to assist students so that they become more mentally resilient, mentally strong, because most of the graduates can finish their accounting degrees. But imagine if you come out in the working world, okay, whatever you learn, those are theories, correct? But in the working world, you'll face all sorts of challenges and obstacles. So how do we overcome those challenges and obstacles? Okay, the empowerment program is there to help you to rediscover yourself, to toughen up, okay, as an individual, to toughen up so that hopefully the moment you get yourself into the working world, you're much more resilient, you're mentally more prepared, and you can face the challenges in the working world. Okay, and for this, I think in the university we have one empowerment champion in the university. If you want to know further more detail like the kilowatts, gigawatts, okay, you can approach the university consultant on that. Okay. Yes, you're right. It's like a preparatory to the real world. Okay. Yeah. Because all of us can learn a lot of things from a textbook, correct? And but we do not want to be just theory based. We want to be more practical, and therefore we want students to be mentally resilient, strong, to face up, to toughen themselves up, to face the different challenges in the real world. Okay. And yeah, I think there's one. Let me scroll back up. Okay. Graduating, this is from Zahir. Graduating with an accounting degree, is it possible to secure position within the management of an organization, like say HR or administration, if I wish to work in such an area? Or is it only restricted to accounting professions like auditing or tax? Okay, thank you for your question. If I understand you correctly, you are asking whether if you study accounting, can you still work in HR department or administration department? Now, the answer to this is, if you have an accounting degree or finance degree, it opens up a lot of opportunities for you. Okay, but you have more capacities than that. If you work in HR administration, yes, you can do so. However, your skills, your knowledge is much more than that. Because normally if people, they work in HR department, perhaps they will take up human resource management. Okay, they take up degree in human resource, degree in talent management, and so on. Administration, because you study more than that. Okay, you study more than human resource management, you study more than administration, you study those specialist skills, how to do tax planning, how to do consolidation. Okay, so it will be good if you can contribute your knowledge, contribute your skills to the organization in accounting department or the finance department so that you can shine. But if you prefer to work in HR or administration, there's no such thing as restricted area. You can still get into HR or administration. But what I'm saying is that your skills are much more than that. Your capability is greater than that. You have more capability, okay, than that. So you can work in other than HR and administration. You can also work in auditing, tax, and other things. Okay. It is not, once you get an accounting degree or finance degree, it does not just stop you at accounting department or audit department. Okay, you can always explore. Okay, you can always explore. So another question from Patricia. I took science stream for my pre-U. So if I want to further my studies on accounting, would it be hard for me to catch up? Or no? Okay. I myself, I'm a science stream student. Okay. So I think if you're a science stream student, especially if you study physics, you know, Newton law says that for every action, there's always a reaction, okay, different direction but the same magnitude. That's the knowledge you can learn in double entry, debit and credit. Debit and credit is in the opposite direction but the same amount. So whatever you learn, whether in physics, biology, as well as chemistry, you can actually relate those things. It can actually enhance your analytical skills. So when you do accounting, if you can relate those, okay, your analytical skills will be stronger. Okay, it's easy to catch up. It's easy to catch up. We have students in the system, they have already graduated and they are coming from, like your case, science stream. They even did science stream in SPM, science stream in their foundation, okay, A-level science stream. But when they join our degree accounting, they can catch up. Why? Because our accounting degree is taking students like as though they are coming in fresh. Okay, so they're coming fresh, they can pick up. Okay, as long as you have passion about the accounting degree, you are very passionate to learn, you can definitely catch up. Okay, but the scientific knowledge you have learned during a pre-U will always stay with you. Okay, those are very interesting scientific concepts. Okay, it's going to harness your thinking, your problem solving skills. Yeah, put it that way, your problem solving skills will be much better. Did I answer your question, Diana, Patricia? Any more question from the audience? So all of you are SPM leavers, or all of you have got your foundation studies or A levels? SPM or pre-U level? Some of you are pre-U level. Okay, yeah. So before you answer the question, you talk about dissertation. Okay. Now, dissertation is in our final year. Whether you do accounting or finance, it is there in the final year. This dissertation, you can choose a topic of your interest. For example, you want to study about fintech, or you want to study about the impact of COVID-19 on SMEs in Malaysia. You want to study about the impact of COVID-19 on the economy recovery, GDP growth, inflation in Malaysia, for example. So this dissertation is going to be a research project, which you work on your own. Okay, so you'll be assigned with a supervisor. Your supervisor is going to be an expert in that area. Is going to guide you, but you have to make the effort to write up the report. Once you finish it, okay, then your supervisor will read it, and you pass to a second examiner to look at it. Okay, normally the students will get through the dissertation. Now, the most important thing from dissertation is what are the key conclusions, what are the key insights. Okay, because you want the data to speak for itself. You do not want to force your perceptions and conclusions on the data. You want the data to speak for itself. So what you do is that you collect data, whether you collect data from Bursa Malaysia or from Bank Negara, and then you will analyze those data using a software. Okay, from there, you will check what is the regression analysis. What is a correlation, the strength between variable A and variable B. So it's going to be very interesting. If you ask me, it's going to be very interesting because in the real world, you will also tend to analyze numbers. You need to know how to analyze numbers. What is the relationship between A and B? When A goes up, B goes up or comes down. Okay, so this is what you learn during the dissertation stage. Okay. Any more question from the audience, please? Have I answered your question, Hussein? Okay, you're most welcome. So if you're keen to take up, yeah. How many optional courses to take each year for that kind? How many optional courses? Okay. Because we want to get exemptions from the professional bodies, our courses are mapped in such a way that we want to get exemptions from ACCA, okay? So therefore, in 1 year, you will take 8 courses, 4 courses in one semester, 4 courses in the second semester. So let me repeat, 1 year you take 8 courses, 3 years you take 24, 8 times 3 you take 24. So let me repeat, 1 year you take 8 courses, 3 years you will take 24 courses. These 24 courses are all compulsory courses. So you take 24 compulsory courses. Each year you take 8 courses. Now all these 8 courses and 24 courses, they are all linked to ACCA, CIMA, so that you get the most exemptions possible from them. Okay, so I hope I answer your question, Amber. How many optional courses? I would not say it's optional. I would say those are recommended compulsory courses. Why? Is to help students to prepare themselves for ACCA and other professional bodies. Okay, there's one question from Chun Mui. Should I consider ACCA or degree study? Okay, should I consider ACCA or degree study? Now, if you ask me, if a person has the financial means, if financial is not really a big challenge, then go for a degree. Okay, but if our parents are limited by having financial hardship, and we wouldn't want to add further financial pressure to them, then if there's no choice, okay, you can actually take up those professional route, because professional route is of course cheaper, but then there's also a high failure rate. If you go for a degree study, as you know, our degree study is a component of coursework which prepares you better, because when you come out to the real world, you are asked to do presentation, correct? You're asked to do presentation, you're asked to justify your decision, you have to speak up. But in ACCA, you just take the professional courses, you study at home, you go into the exam hall, you sit for the 3 hours or 5 hours exam, you pass or fail depending on your 3 or 5 hours performance in the exam hall. There's no communication. The only communication is writing the exam, and pass it to the examiner. But in a degree study, throughout the 3 years, you interact with your friends, you interact with your classmates, you interact with your lecturers, you do presentations, you do group work. That's going to prepare you better. After that, you can do your ACCA. So imagine if you study with Heriot-Watt 3 years, after 3 years, then you do your ACCA, that is much better. So the answer to Chumu is, if you study with our degree, accounting degree, after you finish your 3 years, apply to ACCA, get the exemptions, that is better than directly do the ACCA, if financial is not a challenge. Okay. Why? Because degree study will prepare you to become a more holistic overall as a human being, because it's not just looking into passing the exam, but also looking into communication skill, the soft skills, correct? The soft skills, communication skills, convincing skills, how do you talk to people, how do you negotiate people, be respectful, things like that. Okay, so these are the things that you pick up along the way in your degree study. The experience is different. ACCA is a technical paper. Okay, just go to the exam hall, write your answers, and pass the exam. Degree study is a combination of both coursework plus exam. So the best answer to that is do a degree, then after that top up with an ACCA. Do a degree, then top up with an ACCA. I think that would be the more reasonable solution for that. Did I answer the question, Chun Mui? Okay, you're most welcome. Yeah, I think there's one question. Take your time. Okay, coming from Elvin Lee. After achieving my degree, is it best to get some work experience before considering? Okay. Now, if you ask me, Elvin Lee, the answer is yes. After you get your degree, it's best to get your work experience. As you get your work experience, after 2 or 3 years, you can decide to do masters part-time, do an MBA part-time. Why? Because it's not easy to get a job. Okay, especially now we talk about COVID. Once you have a job in hand, And the more number of years of working experience you have in your CV is going to add into a premium. There is going to be a premium. It's not a liability. It's actually an added asset. So imagine if you have two candidates coming to you. One is fresh, okay, finishing his degree, finishing a master's, or even did the PhD. Want to apply as an accounting, let's say assistant accountant. The other person finished the degree but has 5 years of solid working experience. So I think be realistic is that it's better to get a degree and then apply the knowledge that you have learned in your degree in the real world, get the working experience that will actually help you in your master's program. Because when you attempt your answers, right, when you go to the exam, especially for MBA level, for master's level, you'll find that most of the questions there are very practical based, as though you have worked there for many years. Okay, so to answer the question, yes, get some work experience. Why? Because it's a plus point, premium point for your CV. Number two, it will help you to pass your masters. Okay, because you understand the question in a more practical way. Okay, so it's going to be a win-win situation for you. You're not losing a job, you get your annual salary, you get your monthly income, and at the same time you can do your MBA part-time. Okay. Amber, when can ECA be taken after studying degree? During second year after FTA? Okay, good question, Amber. Now, as you know, Heriot-Watt University Malaysia has this program called ACC Accelerate. Okay, so you can do the ACCA during the second year, starting from a second year. Okay, but there are students who prefer to do in the third year. Why? Because they feel that they are not ready yet. But the opportunity is open for you during the second year. So second year onwards, you can apply to become ACCA Accelerate. Then from there, you can then take up the ACCA professional papers. But you can do it during the third year as well. Definitely not for the first year, because for the first year, we are just learning the basic. How can we take advanced taxation when we don't even know basic taxation, right? So recommended second year or third year. Okay, you can also do it after you graduate. Then you can take up the remaining ACCA papers. So the selling point for ACCA Accelerate is that you don't have to wait until you graduate. You can do it during your second year or the third year while you are studying with us, Heriot-Watt University. Okay, that's the beauty part of it. You don't have to wait until you finish your degree. So the idea is that hopefully by the time you finish your degree, you're remaining maybe 1 or 2 papers rather than having to do 4 papers, for example. Okay. Any more question from the audience?
Okay, if there's no more questions, let's end the session.
So if
Thank you,
yeah,
Dr. Ricky.
yeah, no problem. If any one of you here, okay, who is keen to take up Heriot-Watt University Malaysia accounting degree or finance degree, you can actually approach our marketing colleagues here, or you can approach me. We are happy to discuss. We are happy to assist you and support you. Okay.
All right, everyone. Thank you all for joining our virtual open day. We have more academic talks tomorrow. I will give the link in the chat box for you to register for our tomorrow session. Okay, with that, thank you everybody, and thank you, Dr. Ricky.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.